Right, which is that's noble,
right?
And super dope. I mean, like, obviously, as a listener, you want, top of his game, Dave Grohl. But, stuff happens, especially, if this is like the end of a tour,
I think this is the middle.
Okay.
Yeah.
But, people get sick, voices get raspy, from being used. Especially, like, I've seen, like, footage, and, Dave Grohl, like, hits some pretty gnarly notes, and he sings his heart out when he sings. So it makes sense, Also super cool that he did that.
Absolutely. Like, for a second I felt bad. I was like, man, this sucks. Like, I waited so long for this, and this is the show I get. But in hindsight, it's like just seeing the perseverance and, like, just the fact that he's like, this is our show, man. Like,
right.
I'm sorry I'm hoarse, but goddamn it, I wasn't about to have them put the APB out and be like, look, show's canceled, we'll give you refunds or reroute you to a ticket next time, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I was like, let's fucking do this. Let's go.
Can I pause you real quick to make a cool comparison?
Yeah.
We're kind of like the Dave Grohl of the podcast world, because right now we're both sick and we didn't cancel just because our voices may be a little off, right?
Right.
We're essentially Dave Grohl podcasting right now.
We're the Pod Fighters. Oh shit!
You son of a bitch.
We're here for you, listeners. We're here. I've currently made 2 separate stupid jokes by saying that your sheriff friend was in the stall doing his duty and changed Foo Fighters to Pod Fighters. Goddamn. I'm on a roll. No, so they did the show and it was fantastic. So fucking long though.
Was it?
Yeah. If I had to gripe about anything, it would be the length of the show. But waiting 20 years to see the Foo Fighters play for 2.5 hours, I'd do it again.
Yeah, you would.
But yeah, so I got some pictures with my phone, and I've had people ask me like what kind of phone I have, because the pictures I got, the quality was really good. I have a Google Pixel. I have the first Google Pixel.
Okay.
And the camera on that is phenomenal. And I got a couple really great pictures of Dave Grohl mid-concert that a lot of people commented on and were like, wow, it was really nice. Google Pixel phone is the camera to get.
Google Pixel, huh?
Yeah, and so we left, let's see, concert started at 7:30, I want to say.
Okay.
And that was the opening band.
Gotcha.
Opening band started at 7:30, and then
did like an hour probably.
Just about, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we left Wells Fargo Arena at midnight.
Okay.
So it was a pretty lengthy show.
That is.
It was my first Foo Fighters concert. It was my stepson's first concert ever.
Nice.
And he had a blast.
That's awesome.
He was right on the rail. Like, we made sure to put him up front.
Yeah.
And because me and the rest of my buddies are taller than he is, so we're like, hey, get up there,
right,
see the shit, check the shit out. And we didn't have any problems with like people pushing on us or anything like that until the very end. We had some drunk bastard that came in and tried to like muscle his way up to the front. But just to show you like the level that my buddies are at, my stepson's uncles, so to say, are at, they saw this guy coming and we all made a wall around Dominic and my wife. and just like, hey, if anybody's throwing blows...
Because you said Johnny was there, right?
Yeah.
And he's, I mean, I don't know what he's like maybe in a street fight, but
right,
he's a tough dude, you know?
Absolutely.
Like,
well, I knew for a fact, like, if I was by myself and something went down...
You're kind of a pussy.
For lack of a better term, like if I was by myself and I had to throw hands, I would definitely like...
You would do your best. You would protect...
right.
Dominic, but you know,
Right. I
you
would
might have lost also.
I would do my best. There's a higher chance that I would have lost, but just having my buddies there with me to like have my back, like,
It bolsters the confidence.
oh, absolutely.
Bit, right?
And I was just in the frame of mind. I was like, "It's my first fucking Foo Fighters concert, his first concert ever. Like, you want to go? Let's do this shit. Nobody's gonna fuck with my kid or my wife."
Right.
And it was just a hell of a way to like cap off the night. You know, it was like, "Come on, motherfucker! Like, I'm full of Foo Fighters songs and rage. Let's go." But the concert was fantastic. We got in the car, filled up, and then as soon as we hit the road, like, I was out. just all the adrenaline, like, woo, boom, done.
Yeah, I mean, adrenaline can only take you so far. All right, so
yeah.
Foo Fighters was a success. So
Absolutely.
let's talk about yesterday. Yesterday, Brandon sent me a textual message on my
telephone. Put a pause on that real quick.
I do, yeah.
We'll put a pause on that real quick. Real quick, I want to do our mid-show kind of advertisements and shit. If you'd like to check out more podcasts like the one you're listening to currently, go to questendnetwork.com. That's QUESTEND network.com. And you can check out our podcast as well as a bunch of others. They have the Shadow Vein podcast. They have they have a few wrestling podcasts. I keep looking out the window like somebody's gonna come in and like bust us up. Like, you guys aren't supposed to be podcasting here. It's like, bro,
You're running an illegal podcasting.
Right. I was like, this is my house, ho. But no, you can go and check out our podcast as well as a bunch of other podcasts they have. The Shadow Vein podcast, which is a great podcast. They do like the old-timey kind of radio drama style podcast. It's amazing. These guys put so much effort and time into this podcast that I'm kind of jealous. Like, I won't lie to you, I'm super jealous. But they have the Shadow Vein podcast, the Slasher Sanitarium, where they go through and critique and talk about horror movies. They have the Rundown, Raw Attitude podcast. They have the New Blood Rising podcast, which they all talk about professional wrestling, whether it's the shows that are going on currently, like weekly, or talking about, I believe they go through like 90s and 80s era, like WCW and WWE. So if you're into wrestling podcasts, they definitely have.
I am.
Anything that you're into wrestling wise. They have Words of Geekdom, where it's like three buddies where they gather around and they talk about anything of really geek importance. Really great podcast as well. They have the Pwn Stars, where they talk about video games. If you're into video games, that's the one to go.
That's
through.
a great name.
Yeah, I love it. Then they have the Reanimator podcast. Anime is in the middle of Reanimator, so it's spelled different. So anybody that goes in there like, that's not how you spell Reanimator.
There's a reason.
It's gimmicked, motherfuckers. And they talk about, as you would guess,
Nerd
checkers.
Stuff.
Yeah. No, they don't talk about checkers. They talk about anime. Then they also have Nerd Control, which is actually a YouTube channel where they talk about video games as well. So again, if you're into video games, wrestling, if you like the radio dramas, go to questendnetwork.com. They've got your hookup. And also good news for us, recently in the last day or two, we have started to take over the globe. We have. Our podcast is now, we started off on Spreaker. We are now available for listening on Spreaker, Podbean, iTunes, the Google Play Store, and Castbox. So if you've ever thought, well, I want to listen to your guys' podcast, but I don't have Spreaker. Cool, I'm sure you have any one of those other apps. You can definitely pick us up anywhere else. If, with all those other apps carrying our podcast, you still haven't listened, we're going to assume that you don't like us.
Which is fine. We're not for everybody.
Right.
There's probably a nerdier podcast that you could listen to that you can find on Quest and Network.
Absolutely. But yeah, so that's our advertisement. Unpause.
All right. We are back on. So yesterday I got a text message from Brandon, and he broke the news that he was firing me. No, he didn't. What he asked me was...
Jake's out.
He said, hey, how do you feel about bringing other people onto the podcast? Like, as a team, not just... Because we do interview people.
Absolutely.
But he said, what do you think about bringing somebody else on? And I don't know if Brandon... We still haven't really talked about it much,
right.
man.
This is
us talking about it right now.
Right.
Did you have somebody in mind?
No.
You just want to see other people.
Yeah.
I
want to keep this relationship open, baby. No,
I want to keep it fresh.
Right. No, I've been thinking a little bit about it, and there are these other.
I really do feel like it sounds like you're breaking up with me.
Get ready for the punch. No, I've been thinking about it, and I see that there's these other avenues, like doing YouTube videos.
For sure.
And people get on Twitch and play video games and that kind of thing, and you can get on Twitch and broadcast yourself playing video games and like show other people what you're doing, play with other people, that kind of thing.
Okay.
I'm just kind of kicking around the idea. We're only two people. We're only human. I've got my regular daytime job. I've got my wife, my kids. I've only got so much time. You're a busy man out there slaying the ladies, doing your 9 to 5 thing. You know, we've only got so much time.
Don't know about the lady slaying, but I do work and do comedy a lot.
Right. So,
yeah.
I was curious, and I'll ask you right here and now on the podcast, if you're into it, would you be interested in us forming kind of a entertainment
like a collective
team? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I am.
Maybe even just keeping the podcast me and you. Maybe bringing somebody else on the podcast.
You know,
but definitely including other people, like in a team. One person does a YouTube thing. One person does the Twitch thing.
The great thing about that too is, especially like for the podcast side of things, is we do this every week, and we do have busy lives. And the great thing about that is, like, say 1 week you can't do it.
Right.
Me and somebody else can do it, and it can still be. Here's the thing: we got to get somebody who doesn't suck,
right?
Because we both don't suck, and it would fuck up the vibe if this other person wasn't good. But I'm totally down, because life is about doing better than you were before, and if quantity doesn't always equal more quality, but if it's a quality person, then I'm down, man.
Absolutely. So, with that being said, both you and I agree. If you're listening to the podcast, and I'll post this on the Facebook and the Twitter page as well, if you are interested in being a part of the Taco Tuesday Takeover, holy shit, Triple T.
I like it.
The Taco Tuesday Takeover, if you're interested in being a part of that, message us. Reach out to us, let us know. We'd love to expand our family. Me and Jake are looking to adopt. You know
who I think would be good for a Taco Tuesday edition?
Yeah.
Is you do?
No, sorry.
I think Todd would be good, man, because he offers just that little bit of cynicism that keeps stuff interesting, right?
Are we talking about Todd Wilhite?
We are.
And you said a little bit of cynicism?
Well, maybe a lot of, but he's able to hone it in for professional purposes.
For sure. Okay. I definitely.
Todd, if you're listening to this, holler at your boys.
I don't think Todd cares about us, so we may have
to
go to him.
He may not. He may be good as just like the occasional guest.
For the record, I love Tom, or I love Todd.
No, I love Tim.